Salutations to all my utopians global here on behalf of Global Utopia Sports. Late breaking news, Atlanta Hawks and Utah Jazz are finalizing a deal to send John Collins to the Utah Jazz for Rudy Gay and some draft picks. Collins had about 3 years, $78 million left on his contract. Landry Fields, the GM over in Atlanta, felt the need to, I don't know what he felt the need to do, to be quite honest with you. I'm not impressed at all. First and foremost, to me, some of the GMs in the front office really throwing me off. You got Elton Brand in Philly, James Jones in Phoenix, Landry Fields. It's all very random to me. Obviously, who you are on the court has nothing to do with who you will be as a GM, and who knows what relationships these guys have in the league. I mean, you know, it's all about relationship. Your network is your net worth, as they say. But just Landry Fields, hearing his name as a GM, as a former like role player with the Knicks, my last, I'm not even gonna go. I'm not even gonna go there. My last memory of him was his playoff game and the fast break layup he did. But I'm gonna leave it at that. For me, it's just kind of random. This trade. I mean, I've been hearing him and Miles Turner are the most often rumored guys on the trade market, and he's finally been relieved of his duties in Atlanta. It's just comical to me, the destination, because we all know Danny Ainge, who's pulling the strings over there, is notorious for fleecing teams. This is the same guy. I'll never get over it. He got 2 first ballot Hall of Famers in one offseason in Boston, Ray Allen and Kevin Garnett. Years later, he compiled like a Sam Presti-like draft capital. He practically is the bank at wherever he goes when it boils down to getting draft picks. And as I went on my tour yesterday about different franchises, I listed Rudy Gay as a marquee name in terms of where he may go, and being possible a big time needle mover. And now he's going to Atlanta, where to me, I don't understand the direction. Listen, Danny Ainge is what I consider the diamond standard of GMs. Okay, regardless of how he may get it done, he's the diamond standard. He looked at that roster and said, give me John Collins over Trae Young. Trae Young, Dame Lillard, Steph Curry, these guys all have something in common. Alone, they're not going anywhere, okay? And don't get me wrong, they went to the Eastern Conference Finals one year, the Hawks. But you're not winning a ring with the way this man plays the game. The Atlanta Hawks will forever be a Harlem Globetrotter-like team in the NBA as long as they're going to play this style of basketball where your point guard is launching the ball from 35. Okay? At some point, when are you going to implement a real system? And I think Quinn Snyder, speaking of diamond standard, is the diamond standard of head coaches. When I used to watch him with the Jazz, they were legitimately running plays. But I'm as shocked right now that their pivot is, well, I'm not shocked. It's a money run. He brings butts in the seat. All right, that's what Trae Young is. He brings fans to the arena. So I understand ultimately the goal is how do we be entertaining? But it's the same problem you're having in Dallas with Luka. Now, ironically, they were traded for each other, that you're having in Atlanta. Who are you going to pair him with? John Collins is the most low maintenance guy you can find. That's all-star quality. He's right there with anybody you can list. And for me, I don't know what's even, or Rudy Gay, to me, I don't know what's more tragic. Rudy Gay, the fans of Atlanta now having to watch and depend on the status of your franchise is completely resting on this 5'9", 150-pound point guard, or the fact that Rudy Gay once again is getting the short end of the stick. This is very sad. This is very sad. He's been nothing but in poverty franchise. He had one time where he was on the grit and grind Grizzlies, and he was abruptly traded. They didn't even let Lionel Hollins go. That's a whole nother bad look on the that I don't even want to get into, because I was just outraged, honestly. How do you trade Rudy Gay away without even letting Lionel Hollins know? The least he deserves is to be notified, knowing how much he had turned that franchise and that culture around. But he's been going from one bum franchise to the next. Let's just call it what it is. And now he's going to Atlanta. I mean, I in a sense, I'm glad to see DeAndre Hunter will have someone to kind of mentor him. But if they move off DeAndre Hunter, I just don't understand how anyone can play next to a guy who wants to shoot the ball from 35 and is not running the point situation. You don't have a Draymond there who can get the offense established. If Trae Young is not getting the offense in order, nobody is. So you're just basically chasing down long rebounds. It's a bad move. It's a bad move. And once again, first the Jazz got marketing. He had a crazy year last year. Then you got John Collins, 4 pennies on the dollar. I didn't think they even gave up a first round pick. The Hawks just wanted to move off those draft picks. So now you got Murray and Trey Burke and Trae Young and it's not a good look. It's not a good look. If I'm an Atlanta fan, y'all better make a move real quick. Otherwise, I'm gonna have a bad fit because this is just not. It's not promising at all. And the Jazz, they're solely just, if you can get John Collins for Rudy Gay, who's now like in his mid-30s, and how sad we're never gonna really get to see him in crunch time, really on a great stage. I really wanted to see him somewhere like, I don't know, Denver or with the Lakers or somewhere he can come off the bench on a real platform and really display all your Milwaukee, knowing how much every year they have to rely on Chris Middleton to be healthy, to have another threat over there with firepower. I mean, of all teams, to go to the most mediocre playoff contender, that like they're just barely squeaking in the door of relevant teams in terms of teams that win. If you want to talk about teams with culture in terms of winning, they're the lowest on the totem of winning culture franchises. Yes, technically you went to the Eastern Con. Yeah, you got into the playoffs this year. You had some wins. You won some games, but we all know you're not sniffing the championship. You're not getting anywhere near that Larry O'Brien trophy. And this is a step backwards. I really hope they have a move that we don't know about. And then the report on the trade where the owner of the Hawks told Landry Field he has the ultimate green light to go over the tax threshold. So why are you dumping him for cash consideration, basically? It's like there's no cohesion, there's no synergy in everything they're doing. There has to be another move, because when I read that part in the trade, I'm like, what do you mean you guys are able to go over the tax threshold the way Joe Lacob does in Golden State, yet you trade him for a cap-friendly contract? The whole thing's a mystery to me, and I don't, this is going to be one of those times where people in the end are going to be, oh, the Hawks failed Trae Young, and it's like, he earned every bit of, whatever shortcomings he has in his career. To me, honest with you, he's stretched his 15 minutes of fame, and once again, Danny Ainge has remained undefeated. Underwhelming, disappointing trade, but hey, you got the news. Global out.